When people hear the name Democratic Republic of the Congo, their minds often jump to headlines: conflict, poverty, minerals, jungle, chaos. Rarely do they think about everyday life. Rarely do they imagine laughter, fashion, ambition, love stories, university exams, selfies, music, dreams. And almost never do they stop to ask a simple question: what are women in Congo actually like? Instead, myths fill the silence. Some imagine that girls in Congo live only in villages, carrying water on their heads and waiting to be married off. Others romanticize them as exotic African beauties, reducing millions of unique personalities into a single fantasy. Some think they are oppressed and voiceless. Others assume they are overly traditional, disconnected from modern life. The truth, as always, is far more complex, and far more human. To understand girls in Congo, you have to let go of extremes. Congo is not a movie scene. It is not a charity commercial. It is not a safari. It is a country of more than 100 million people, with over 200 ethnic groups, dozens of languages, massive cities, remote villages, entrepreneurs, artists, students, activists, mothers, influencers, engineers, dreamers. There is no single type of Congolese woman. Let's start with one of the biggest myths, that girls in Congo are disconnected from modern culture. Walk through parts of Kinshasa, the capital city, and you'll see something completely different from what many imagine. Young women wearing stylish outfits, carefully coordinated colors, modern hairstyles, long braids, wigs, natural curls, sneakers, heels. Phones in hand. TikTok videos being recorded on street corners. Instagram photo shoots against painted walls. Conversations about relationships, business ideas, music, politics. Just like anywhere else in the world. Congolese girls are deeply connected to global culture. They listen to Afrobeats, hip-hop, gospel, local Congolese rumba. They follow international celebrities. They know fashion trends. They argue about the same topics young women debate everywhere: loyalty, independence, money, respect, ambition. But here is where reality becomes more layered. In many Western narratives, African women are often portrayed only as victims. And while it is true that Congo has faced decades of instability, especially in eastern regions, that image alone erases something important: strength. Congolese women are known across Africa for resilience. Many grow up understanding responsibility early. Some help support their families while still in school. Some start small businesses, selling clothes, cosmetics, food, phone accessories. Markets across the country are filled with female entrepreneurs negotiating prices confidently, managing supply chains, building networks. This isn't helplessness. It's hustle. Another myth says that girls in Congo are passive in relationships, that decisions are made for them. Reality depends heavily on region, education level, and family background. In more traditional communities, family involvement in marriage decisions can still be strong. Bride price, often misunderstood, remains part of certain cultural traditions. But that does not automatically mean women have no say. Many young women today want to choose their own partners. Urbanization and education have shifted expectations dramatically. University campuses tell another story rarely shown. Classrooms full of female students studying law, medicine, economics, IT. Girls debating professors. Preparing for exams. Talking about careers abroad. Planning startups. The idea that Congolese women only aspire to marriage is outdated. Marriage is valued, yes, family is central in Congolese culture, but ambition is alive and growing. Then there is beauty, one of the most misunderstood areas. When outsiders talk about African beauty, they often reduce it to skin color or body shape. In Congo, beauty standards are more dynamic. Curves are often celebrated. Confidence matters. Presentation matters. Grooming matters. Fashion is a statement. In Kinshasa especially, appearance is almost a language. The culture of la-sape, elegant dressing, influences both men and women. Looking sharp is a form of pride. But beauty is also political. Conversations about skin bleaching, natural hair, European versus African features are real and ongoing. Some women embrace natural textures proudly. Others experiment with wigs, weaves, color. It's not simple self-hate or simple pride. It's layered, influenced by colonial history, media, economics, and personal taste. One stereotype that often circulates online is that Congolese women are either extremely submissive or extremely aggressive. Both are distortions. Like anywhere else, personality varies widely. You will meet soft-spoken girls and outspoken ones. Traditionalists and feminists. Deeply religious women and more liberal thinkers. Women who prioritize family life and women who prioritize career first. There is no single personality profile. Religion plays a major role in shaping social norms. Christianity is dominant in Congo, and church life is central for many families. This influences views on relationships, modesty, gender roles. Sunday church services are social spaces where communities gather, dress elegantly, connect. Faith can be a source of structure and moral expectation, but it can also be a source of empowerment and leadership for women. Now let's talk about something rarely discussed honestly: safety. The eastern regions of Congo have experienced serious conflict, and women in those areas have faced unimaginable hardship. That is real and cannot be ignored. But it is equally misleading to assume the entire country functions in a constant war zone. Congo is geographically massive. Conditions differ drastically from province to province. Urban centers operate with markets, nightlife, universities, weddings, traffic jams. Life continues. Reducing Congolese women only to victims of violence strips them of agency. Many activists inside the country are women. Journalists. Community leaders. NGO founders. Lawyers advocating for reform. Strength here is not loud in international media, but it is present. Dating culture is another area wrapped in myth. Some outsiders imagine that dating in Congo is purely transactional. Others romanticize it as more traditional and therefore more loyal. Reality again is mixed. Economic hardship can influence relationships. That's true in many countries, not just Congo. Financial stability is highly valued in men, just as in many cultures worldwide. But love, attraction, chemistry, those are universal human experiences. Social media has transformed dating expectations. Urban girls in Congo use WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. They flirt online. They ghost people. They block people. They fall in love through DMs. They break up dramatically. It's modern. Family expectations still matter, though. Introducing someone to your family is serious. Respect is non-negotiable. Public behavior reflects on the family name. These cultural threads still shape romantic decisions. Education is one of the biggest dividing lines between myth and reality. In rural areas, access to education for girls can be limited due to poverty. But in cities, many families push daughters to study hard. A degree is security. A career is protection. A woman who can earn her own income commands a different level of respect. Another myth suggests Congolese women are eager to leave the country at any opportunity. While migration is common, attachment to homeland is strong. Congo's culture is vibrant: music, language, food, dance. There is pride. Even those who dream of traveling often speak about returning, building something, contributing. The media rarely shows everyday joy. Weddings in Congo are loud, colorful, emotional. Music fills the air. Dancing lasts for hours. Women wear bright fabrics, heels, matching outfits. There is laughter, teasing, celebration. Birthdays are celebrated passionately. Graduation parties. Church events. Markets buzzing at sunset. Street food vendors calling out to customers. Hair salons packed with conversation and gossip. Congolese girls are not living in a constant documentary of suffering. They laugh. They argue. They obsess over crushes. They plan outfits days in advance. They dream about business ideas at 2 a.m. They cry over heartbreak. They take pride in their appearance. They support their siblings. They hustle. Economic inequality is real, though. Some neighborhoods display wealth, SUVs, modern apartments, private schools. Others struggle with unreliable electricity and infrastructure. Girls growing up in different economic classes can have dramatically different experiences. One may study abroad. Another may leave school early to support her family. Both are Congolese. Both are real. Language diversity also shapes identity. French is the official language, but Lingala, Swahili, Chiluba, and Kikongo are widely spoken. Switching languages mid-conversation is common. Language signals education level, region, and sometimes social class. Girls navigating these layers develop strong social intelligence. Let's confront another uncomfortable stereotype, that African women are naturally more loyal or more family-oriented than Western women. This idea often appears in online forums. It's simplistic and unfair. Culture influences behavior, yes. But loyalty is personal. Family orientation is personal. Congolese women are individuals shaped by environment, personality, and opportunity, not by some mystical continental trait. Modern Congolese feminism exists, though it may not always look like Western feminism. Some women advocate loudly for equal rights and legal reform. Others challenge norms quietly by pursuing careers in male-dominated industries. Some balance tradition and independence carefully, redefining roles without rejecting culture entirely. Technology is accelerating change. Young women start online boutiques. Sell imported products. Offer makeup services through Instagram. Create YouTube channels discussing lifestyle topics. The digital world is shrinking distance. Still, expectations can be heavy. Many girls feel pressure to succeed financially and marry well. Reputation matters. Community gossip travels fast. Social circles overlap. Maintaining dignity is important. So what is the biggest myth of all? That Congolese women can be summarized in a single narrative. They cannot. They are shaped by colonial history, by post-independence politics, by global capitalism, by church sermons, by TikTok trends, by mother's advice, by economic reality, by music blasting from speakers, by the rhythm of Congolese rumba, by the intensity of urban heat, by the quiet of rural mornings. Some dream of becoming doctors. Some dream of becoming influencers. Some want large families. Some want to travel the world first. Some are conservative. Some are rebellious. Some are deeply spiritual. Some are skeptical. The danger of myths is not just that they are inaccurate. It's that they flatten humanity. When you look at girls in Congo through headlines only, you miss the ambition. When you look at them through fantasy only, you miss the struggle. When you look at them through pity only, you miss the power. Reality is contradiction. A girl might wake up early to fetch water in the morning and study accounting in the afternoon. She might negotiate fiercely in the market and cry quietly over a breakup at night. She might respect tradition and challenge it at the same time. Congo itself is contradiction, rich in minerals, struggling economically. Full of culture, often misrepresented globally. Full of energy, often portrayed only as broken. And its women reflect that complexity. If you truly want to understand Congolese girls, you have to step away from stereotypes and listen. Listen to their goals. Their humor. Their frustrations. Their love stories. Their business plans. Their faith. Their doubts. Because behind every myth is a real person with a name, a family, a favorite song, a fear, a hope. And once you see that, the myths begin to dissolve. What remains is something far more interesting than any stereotype. Human beings navigating life in one of the most misunderstood countries in the world, with style, resilience, ambition, and heart. Kinshasa is not a quiet city. It's loud, alive, fast, emotional. Music plays from taxis, markets are crowded, churches are full, and the nightlife never really sleeps. So when it comes to dating and meeting people, the energy of the city shapes everything. First, one important thing: reputation matters. In Kinshasa, social circles are powerful. Many girls meet guys through friends, cousins, classmates, church members. If a man is introduced through someone trusted, it instantly creates more credibility. Random approaches happen, yes, but connections through mutual networks feel safer and more serious. Church plays a major role in social life. Christianity is very influential in Congo, and church youth groups, choir rehearsals, and community events are common places where young people meet. Relationships that start in church are often seen as more serious and respectful. A man who shows consistency and good behavior in church gains attention. Universities are another key space. Campuses are social hubs. Conversations begin after lectures, during group projects, or while studying. Many girls in Kinshasa are ambitious, they want education, careers, stability. Intelligence and direction can be attractive qualities. A confident discussion about goals can open doors faster than cheesy pickup lines. Now let's talk about modern reality. Social media is huge. WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, they are central to dating culture. A reply to a story. A reaction to a photo. A direct message that starts casually. Online communication often comes before real-life meetings. It's normal to talk for days or weeks before going out. Confidence is important in Kinshasa. Not arrogance, but presence. A man who speaks clearly, carries himself well, and shows intention is more likely to succeed. Being overly shy or hesitant can make things stall quickly. Appearance also matters. Kinshasa has a strong culture of style. Looking clean, well-dressed, coordinated, this sends a message. The city appreciates presentation. A sloppy look can immediately lower attraction. Effort is noticed. Public flirting exists, but respect is essential. Overly aggressive behavior is not appreciated. Disrespect spreads fast in social circles. Word travels quickly in this city. There's also the economic reality. Financial stability carries weight. Many girls think long-term. A man without direction, ambition, or income plan may not be taken seriously. This doesn't mean relationships are purely transactional, but stability signals security. Nightlife is another space for meeting. Clubs, lounges, music events, especially where Congolese rumba or Afrobeats play. The vibe is energetic. Dancing is important. Body language says a lot before words even start. But even in nightlife, confidence and respect still define outcomes. Family influence remains strong. If a relationship becomes serious, family approval matters. Introducing someone to family is not casual. It signals intention. At the same time, modern independence is growing. Many young women balance tradition and personal choice. They may respect cultural expectations while still choosing who they date. So how do girls meet in Kinshasa? Through friends. Through church. Through school. Through social media. Through nightlife. Through everyday life in a city that never slows down. It's a mix of tradition, ambition, survival, romance, pride, and modern digital culture. And like everything in Congo, it's layered, dynamic, and far more complex than outsiders expect. ## Marriage traditions in Democratic Republic of the Congo. Marriage in Congo is not just about two people falling in love. It is about families, respect, identity, tradition, and social structure. It carries emotional weight, cultural symbolism, and community recognition. And while modern life is changing many things, traditional elements still play a powerful role. One of the most misunderstood traditions is the bride price, often called lobola in various African cultures, though the name differs depending on the ethnic group. In Congo, this practice exists in many communities, but it is often misinterpreted by outsiders as buying a woman. That is not how families see it. The bride price is a symbolic gesture of respect toward the bride's family. It acknowledges the years they spent raising her. It formalizes the union between two families, not just two individuals. The payment can include money, drinks, cloth, or other agreed-upon items. The amount and items vary widely depending on region, tribe, education level, and family expectations. Importantly, this process is usually negotiated between families. It can involve long discussions, humor, bargaining, and ceremony. It is not simply a transaction, it is ritual. Family approval is extremely important in Congolese marriage culture. Even in urban areas like Kinshasa, where modern dating is common, introducing a partner to the family is serious. Marriage is rarely viewed as purely individual. Elders often give advice, ask questions, and evaluate character. Traditional ceremonies can be vibrant and symbolic. In some ethnic groups, there are formal introductions where the groom's family visits the bride's home with gifts. Speeches are made. Proverbs are shared. Respectful language is used. There may be symbolic gestures such as sharing drinks or presenting specific items that represent unity. Then there is the civil marriage, the legal registration recognized by the state. Many couples combine traditional, civil, and religious ceremonies. A church wedding is especially significant for Christian families, which make up the majority of the population. Church weddings are often elaborate, emotional, and community-centered. Congolese weddings are rarely small. They are loud, colorful, energetic celebrations. Music plays a central role. Guests dress elegantly. Matching outfits for family members are common. Dancing can last for hours. Weddings are not just private events, they are social statements. Another important element is community reputation. Marriage is seen as a marker of maturity and stability. In many communities, being married carries social status. At the same time, urban youth are increasingly delaying marriage to focus on education and career. Gender roles within marriage are evolving. Traditionally, men were seen as providers and women as caretakers of the home. But economic reality and modernization are shifting that dynamic. Many women now work, run businesses, or pursue professional careers. Some marriages operate with more shared financial responsibility. Divorce is legally possible but culturally sensitive. In traditional settings, families may attempt mediation before separation. Marriage is considered a serious commitment, not something to end lightly. It's also important to understand that Congo is extremely diverse. With over 200 ethnic groups, marriage customs vary significantly. What is common in one region may not exist in another. Urban life blends traditions, while rural communities may preserve them more strictly. Modern influences, social media, globalization, exposure to Western culture, are changing expectations. Some young couples prioritize romantic love more openly than previous generations. Others still emphasize family compatibility and long-term stability above all. In the end, marriage in Congo is not one single tradition. It is a combination of history, culture, negotiation, religion, modern ambition, and family connection. It is not simply a wedding day. It is the merging of two worlds. When the sun goes down in Kinshasa, the city doesn't slow down, it transforms. Daytime Kinshasa is business, traffic, markets, noise. But at night, it becomes rhythm. Bass lines travel through warm air. Neon lights flicker. Cars line up outside popular spots. Laughter spills onto sidewalks. The energy shifts from survival mode to expression mode. Music is the heart of nightlife here. You'll hear Congolese rumba, ndombolo, afrobeats, amapiano, hip-hop, gospel remixes, and local street anthems. Music in Kinshasa isn't background noise, it's identity. It's pride. It's culture. When a familiar song drops, the entire room reacts. People don't just dance casually. They perform. They feel it. Style matters. A lot. Kinshasa has a strong fashion culture influenced by elegance and bold self-expression. Looking good is part of the experience. Clean shoes, sharp outfits, fitted dresses, styled hair, people show up intentionally. It's not random. Presentation communicates confidence and social awareness. Women especially use nightlife as a space of expression. During the day, responsibilities may dominate: school, work, family duties. At night, the club can be freedom. Dancing with friends. Filming Instagram stories. Laughing loudly. Being seen. But nightlife here isn't one-dimensional. There are upscale lounges with VIP sections and imported drinks. There are mid-level clubs with packed dance floors and heavy bass. There are open-air spots where live bands perform. There are neighborhood bars with plastic chairs and powerful speakers where the vibe is raw and local. Each space attracts different crowds. In higher-end venues, you'll see business owners, influencers, musicians, athletes. In local clubs, you'll see students, hustlers, creatives, everyday young people blowing off steam after a long week. Social dynamics are interesting. Approaching someone requires confidence, but respect is critical. Public embarrassment is not tolerated well. A smooth introduction works better than aggressive persistence. Eye contact, subtle smiles, body language, that's how many interactions start. Money plays a visible role too. Buying drinks, reserving tables, showing generosity, these actions signal status. But flashy spending without personality doesn't guarantee attention. Charisma still wins. Security presence is common in bigger venues. The city knows how intense nightlife can get, so structure matters. Most popular places operate with organized entry and visible staff. Social media has amplified club culture. A night out isn't just experienced, it's documented. Photos, reels, live streams. Being in the right place carries social currency. If you weren't there, you saw it online. However, nightlife in Kinshasa isn't just about partying. It's networking. Musicians meet producers. Entrepreneurs meet potential partners. Influencers connect with photographers. Conversations that start over music sometimes turn into business opportunities. There's also contrast. Electricity issues can affect some neighborhoods. Infrastructure isn't always perfect. But that unpredictability adds to the rawness. The city adapts. Generators turn on. Music continues. Kinshasa nightlife is intense, expressive, emotional. People dance like they mean it. They dress like it matters. They show up with presence. It's not subtle. It's alive. And if you truly want to understand the spirit of Kinshasa, you don't just study it during the day. You feel it at night. ## the most dangerous regions in Democratic Republic of the Congo. When people talk about danger in Congo, they often speak in generalizations. They imagine the entire country as one continuous war zone. That image is dramatic, but it is inaccurate. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is enormous. It is the second largest country in Africa. Conditions vary drastically from region to region. Some cities function with normal urban routines, traffic jams, universities, nightlife, business districts. Other areas face ongoing instability driven by armed groups, political tensions, and economic struggle. To understand danger in Congo, you have to look at geography. The eastern part of the country has experienced the most persistent insecurity over the past decades. Provinces like North Kivu and South Kivu are frequently mentioned in international reports. These regions border Rwanda, Uganda, and Burundi, and their location has made them strategically sensitive for years. North Kivu, in particular, has been heavily affected by armed group activity. The presence of multiple militias, rebel movements, and cross-border tensions has created cycles of violence. Towns near the city of Goma have experienced clashes, displacement, and instability. Civilians in these areas often face uncertainty, sudden road closures, military operations, shifting control of territory. South Kivu has seen similar patterns. Armed groups compete for control over land and resources. The terrain, mountainous, forested, makes it difficult for authorities to maintain full control. In rural zones especially, state presence can be limited. It is important to understand that the danger in these regions is complex. It is not random chaos. It is tied to historical conflicts, regional politics, ethnic tensions, and the global demand for minerals such as coltan and gold. Eastern Congo is rich in natural resources, and that wealth has unfortunately fueled competition and violence. Another region often mentioned is Ituri province. Ituri has experienced ethnic-based conflicts and militia activity, particularly in rural areas. Clashes between armed groups and local communities have led to displacement and insecurity. When international media reports on Congo, it often focuses almost exclusively on these eastern provinces. And while the suffering in those areas is real and serious, it creates a distorted image of the entire country. For example, Kinshasa, located in the western part of the country, operates very differently. Kinshasa faces urban challenges, crime, economic inequality, infrastructure strain. But it is not an active war zone. Millions of people live daily life there, working, studying, building businesses. Urban crime in large cities like Kinshasa can include theft, robbery, and occasional violent incidents, especially in certain neighborhoods. Like many megacities worldwide, safety varies by district and time of day. Local knowledge matters. Some areas are relatively calm, others are less secure at night. Another region sometimes mentioned in discussions of insecurity is Kasai. In recent years, the Kasai provinces experienced political and militia-related violence linked to local leadership disputes. Though the intensity has fluctuated, periods of instability created humanitarian challenges. Tanganyika province has also seen intercommunal tensions at different times. Again, these conflicts are often localized rather than nationwide. The key point is this: danger in Congo is not uniform. It is regional, sometimes even district-specific. One of the most significant consequences of insecurity in eastern regions is internal displacement. Millions of people have been forced to move from rural conflict zones to safer towns or camps. This creates secondary challenges: overcrowding, poverty, strain on local resources. For women and children, instability increases vulnerability. Armed conflict environments often create heightened risks of exploitation and abuse. Humanitarian organizations operate heavily in eastern Congo for this reason. But to only describe these regions as dangerous without context misses the human dimension. People still live there. Markets still open. Schools function when possible. Communities adapt to uncertainty with resilience. Life does not completely stop, it becomes cautious. Border areas are particularly sensitive. The proximity to Rwanda and Uganda has historically influenced armed group movement. Cross-border trade and politics shape security patterns. Infrastructure also plays a role in regional safety. In remote provinces, limited roads and communication networks reduce state presence. Where government control is weak, non-state armed actors can fill the vacuum. However, in major western and central cities, daily life often feels dramatically different from international headlines. Cities like Lubumbashi in the southeast operate with mining industries and business activity. While crime exists, it is not comparable to active militia zones in the east. It is also important to separate political instability from everyday criminality. Congo has experienced political tensions, protests, and election-related unrest at different times. These moments can temporarily increase risk in urban centers. But they are episodic, not constant warfare. International perception often freezes Congo in its most violent moments. The Second Congo War, which officially ended in 2003, still shapes how outsiders view the country. Yet over 20 years have passed. While eastern conflicts persist, the national picture is more nuanced. Another factor influencing danger levels is the presence of peacekeeping forces. The United Nations has maintained one of its largest missions in eastern Congo for years. Their presence reflects the seriousness of instability in those provinces. However, it also highlights that conflict zones are concentrated rather than universal. Travel advisories from foreign governments typically warn against travel to specific eastern provinces while advising caution in other parts of the country. This distinction itself demonstrates regional variation. When discussing most dangerous regions, North Kivu often ranks highest due to consistent militia activity and clashes. Ituri also frequently appears in security briefings. South Kivu follows closely. These provinces have experienced recurring armed group operations. Yet even within North Kivu, not every neighborhood is equally affected at all times. Security dynamics shift quickly. A town calm for months can face sudden escalation, and vice versa. Mining zones sometimes become hotspots due to competition over valuable minerals. Control of mining sites can fund armed groups. This economic dimension complicates security efforts. Rural areas tend to be more vulnerable than large cities because of limited security infrastructure. In isolated villages, response times to threats can be slow. Armed groups may move more freely in forests and mountainous terrain. It is also worth mentioning that Congo's sheer size creates logistical challenges for governance. Administering such a vast territory with limited infrastructure strains resources. However, danger narratives can unintentionally erase progress. In many parts of the country, people are building businesses, launching startups, creating music, studying abroad, investing in real estate. A growing urban middle class exists. Nightlife thrives in major cities. Cultural production is vibrant. Security challenges in eastern provinces are severe and ongoing, but they do not define the entire nation's daily reality. Another layer often overlooked is local perception of danger. Residents of Kinshasa may view eastern provinces as distant conflict zones. Residents of Goma may adapt to a normalized sense of caution. Risk becomes relative based on familiarity and context. Media framing tends to focus on extremes because conflict attracts attention. Ordinary stability rarely becomes headlines. To truly understand dangerous regions in Congo, one must hold two realities simultaneously. First, eastern provinces such as North Kivu and Ituri face serious armed conflict risks, displacement crises, and humanitarian emergencies. Second, large portions of the country operate outside active conflict conditions, though they may struggle with poverty and crime. Simplifying the entire nation into dangerous is inaccurate. Ignoring eastern instability is also inaccurate. The truth lies in regional differentiation. Congo is a country of contrasts, extraordinary mineral wealth and widespread poverty, vibrant cultural expression and painful historical scars, urban growth and rural vulnerability. The most dangerous regions are primarily concentrated in the eastern border provinces, particularly North Kivu and Ituri, where armed group activity remains persistent. These areas experience cycles of clashes, displacement, and humanitarian strain. Meanwhile, cities like Kinshasa function as political and economic centers with typical big city challenges rather than battlefield conditions. Understanding this complexity matters. Because when an entire country is labeled simply as dangerous, it reduces millions of people to a stereotype. It discourages investment. It discourages tourism. It discourages nuance. Congo's challenges are real. Its regional conflicts are serious. But its story is not one-dimensional. Danger exists, but so does resilience, adaptation, and daily life continuing forward. And any honest discussion of Congo must include both. The difference between the capital and rural villages in Democratic Republic of the Congo. To understand Congo, you must understand contrast. The difference between life in Kinshasa and life in rural villages is not small. It is not subtle. It is dramatic. It is economic, cultural, psychological, and generational. Kinshasa is noise. Villages are rhythm. Kinshasa wakes up to traffic before sunrise. Motorcycles weaving between cars. Vendors already arranging goods on sidewalks. Loud music from passing taxis. The city breathes fast. Time moves quickly. People rush because competition is everywhere. In the capital, survival often means speed. In rural villages, mornings are quieter. Roosters, distant conversations, wind through trees. The pace is slower. Movement follows daylight. There are fewer cars, fewer horns, fewer concrete buildings. Time feels longer. The capital is dense. Millions of people packed into neighborhoods that stretch endlessly. Apartment blocks, markets, roadside shops, churches, schools, nightclubs. You can walk 10 minutes and pass hundreds of faces. In villages, population is small and interconnected. Everyone knows everyone. Privacy is limited, but community bonds are stronger. If something happens, the whole village knows by sunset. Economically, the gap is significant. Kinshasa offers opportunity, but also fierce competition. Business happens everywhere. Informal markets dominate entire streets. Small entrepreneurs sell clothes, electronics, phone credit, food, beauty products. Ambition is visible. People talk about starting companies, building brands, traveling abroad. In villages, the economy is often agricultural. Farming, fishing, small-scale trading. Income depends heavily on seasons and weather. There is less access to large markets. Cash flow is limited. Bartering can still be common in remote areas. Education is another dividing line. Kinshasa has universities, private schools, language institutes, technical colleges. Students compete for degrees in law, medicine, business, IT. Education is seen as a pathway to mobility. Families invest heavily when they can. In rural villages, access to education varies. Some have basic primary schools. Secondary schools may require traveling long distances. Resources are limited. Classrooms can be overcrowded. Books may be shared. Teachers sometimes work with minimal support. This affects ambition and worldview. Urban youth are exposed to global trends through social media, television, and internet cafes. They follow international news. They debate politics. They compare lifestyles across continents. Village youth may have more localized perspectives shaped by tradition, community elders, and immediate surroundings. That does not mean they lack intelligence or dreams, but exposure differs. Technology creates one of the clearest contrasts. In Kinshasa, smartphones are everywhere. WhatsApp is essential. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, active daily. Online business is growing. Influencers build audiences. Digital culture shapes identity. In villages, network coverage can be inconsistent. Internet access may be limited or expensive. Communication relies more on face-to-face interaction. News spreads through conversation, not trending hashtags. Infrastructure highlights inequality. Kinshasa struggles with traffic congestion, inconsistent electricity in some neighborhoods, and infrastructure strain. But it still has paved roads, government buildings, airports, business districts. Villages may have dirt roads that become nearly unusable during rainy seasons. Electricity may be absent or generator-based. Access to clean water can require walking long distances. Healthcare facilities are often basic. Healthcare is a major difference. In the capital, there are hospitals, clinics, private medical centers. Though quality and affordability vary, options exist. In rural areas, medical care can be limited to small health posts. Serious cases require travel to larger towns. Transportation itself becomes a challenge. Culturally, the gap is layered. Kinshasa blends modernity and tradition. You see Western fashion trends mixed with Congolese fabrics. You hear global music alongside local rumba. You see young women pursuing careers while still attending church regularly. Villages tend to preserve traditions more strictly. Cultural ceremonies, marriage customs, respect hierarchies, and gender roles may follow older structures. Elders hold strong authority. Social change happens more slowly. Gender expectations can differ sharply. In Kinshasa, many women pursue careers, start businesses, or work in offices. Urban life demands dual incomes in many households. Independence is growing. In villages, women often carry heavy agricultural and domestic responsibilities. Farming, cooking, water collection, childcare, daily routines are physically demanding. Economic opportunity outside agriculture can be limited. Yet rural life also has strengths often ignored. Community solidarity is stronger. Neighbors help each other with farming, construction, celebrations. Social isolation is rare. Children grow up surrounded by extended family. In Kinshasa, despite population density, loneliness can exist. Competition and financial pressure create stress. Community bonds may be weaker, especially in fast-growing neighborhoods where people migrate from different provinces. Nightlife illustrates contrast vividly. Kinshasa comes alive after dark. Clubs, lounges, live music venues, rooftop gatherings. The city glows. Fashion is displayed. Social networks expand. In villages, nights are quieter. Social gatherings happen around homes, small bars, community events. There may be music and dance during celebrations, but daily nightlife is calmer. Political awareness also differs. In the capital, politics is immediate. Protests, speeches, election discussions happen publicly. Media presence is stronger. Government institutions are visible. In villages, national politics can feel distant. Local leadership and customary chiefs often hold more direct influence over daily life. Migration connects these two worlds. Many people in Kinshasa originally come from rural provinces. The capital is a magnet for opportunity. Young people leave villages seeking education, work, or business prospects. This creates a constant flow of movement. But migration also creates identity tension. Urban life can feel overwhelming for someone raised in a quiet village. At the same time, returning home after living in the capital can feel restrictive. Language plays a role. While French is official, Kinshasa's Lingala dominates daily conversation. In rural areas, local languages may be primary. Language influences social belonging and mobility. Cost of living differs significantly. Life in Kinshasa can be expensive relative to income. Rent, transportation, school fees, electricity, food prices fluctuate. Urban poverty is visible. Village life may require less cash, but income opportunities are also limited. Economic vulnerability exists in different forms. Dreams differ in expression but not in existence. In Kinshasa, dreams often sound global: studying abroad, launching startups, becoming musicians, building brands. In villages, dreams may focus on stability, better harvests, children completing school, building a durable home, accessing reliable healthcare. One is not superior to the other. They are shaped by environment. Security perceptions also vary. Urban crime exists in Kinshasa, theft, robbery in certain areas. But there is also organized policing and visible authority. In remote villages, security can depend more on community cohesion and local arrangements. State presence may be minimal. Environmental experience differs deeply. Kinshasa is concrete: dust, heat, river views, crowded markets. Villages are fields, forests, rivers, open sky. Nature is not a weekend escape, it is daily life. The psychological pace is perhaps the biggest divide. In the capital, pressure is constant. Competition for jobs, visibility, money. Status is visible and compared. Social mobility is desired. In villages, life may be physically harder but socially slower. The pressure is different: survival, harvest success, family honor, but not necessarily public competition. Yet the line between these worlds is not absolute. Kinshasa still carries rural culture within it. Many residents maintain ties to ancestral villages. They send money home. They visit during holidays. Traditions travel with migrants. And villages are not frozen in time. Radios, smartphones, migration stories, remittances, modern influence reaches even remote communities. The difference between capital and village in Congo is not simply modern versus traditional. It is density versus space. Speed versus rhythm. Competition versus cohesion. Cash economy versus subsistence support. Global exposure versus localized continuity. Both spaces contain struggle. Both contain beauty. Both contain limitation and possibility. To understand Congo fully, you must hold both images at once: the chaotic energy of Kinshasa's streets and the quiet persistence of rural fields at sunrise. They are not opposites. They are two expressions of the same nation. This is a sensitive topic, and it's important to approach it honestly, without fantasy and without demonizing anyone. When people hear that some men from Europe travel to Congo to meet women, reactions are usually extreme. Some imagine romance and traditional love. Others imagine exploitation. The truth, as always, sits somewhere in between, and depends entirely on the individuals involved. First, let's be clear, Congo is not a mainstream, romance tourism destination in the way some other regions are portrayed online. It does not have a massive international dating tourism industry. So when European men travel there with romantic intentions, it is usually personal, not organized. So why does it happen? One reason is perception. Some European men believe that women in Congo, and in parts of Africa generally, are more traditional, more family-oriented, and more relationship-focused compared to women in Western Europe. Whether that perception is accurate or oversimplified is another question. But perception alone can motivate travel. In many European countries, dating culture has changed significantly over the past decades. Gender roles have shifted. Marriage happens later. Independence is emphasized. For some men, especially those who feel disconnected from modern Western dating culture, the idea of meeting someone in a different cultural environment feels appealing. Another factor is admiration for African culture. Some men genuinely appreciate Congolese music, style, language, or community values. Cities like Kinshasa are culturally vibrant, music scenes, fashion culture, strong social identity. For some, attraction to women grows from broader cultural interest rather than stereotypes. But there's also a more complicated economic dimension. Economic inequality between Europe and Congo can influence relationship dynamics. A European passport, income level, or residency status may be seen as offering mobility and opportunity. Some men are aware of this imbalance, some underestimate it. It's important to say clearly, when financial disparity exists, motivations can become mixed on both sides. Some relationships are built on genuine connection. Others may be influenced by economic hope, visa dreams, or security needs. That doesn't automatically mean manipulation, but it does mean expectations must be realistic. Another reason is curiosity and difference. Some people are drawn to what feels unfamiliar. Different beauty standards, different communication styles, different social structures. The idea of stepping outside one's own cultural bubble can feel exciting. However, problems begin when expectations are based on fantasy. Some European men arrive with the belief that women in Congo will automatically be more submissive, more obedient, or less independent. That stereotype often collapses quickly in reality. Urban Congolese women, especially in Kinshasa, can be strong-minded, ambitious, socially intelligent, and financially aware. Respect is expected. Confidence is required. Passive stereotypes do not match modern reality. Another driver is social media. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok make cross-border interaction easy. A conversation can start online and evolve over months before travel ever happens. Digital connection reduces distance. Emotional attachment can form before physical meeting. Religion can also play a role. Since Christianity is strong in Congo, some European men who value faith may feel cultural alignment in that area. But let's address a difficult truth: not all motivations are pure. Some men may believe that economic advantage gives them power. Some may see relationships in poorer countries as easier to control. That mindset is dangerous and often leads to unhealthy outcomes. At the same time, it is unfair to assume every cross-cultural relationship is exploitative. Many international couples meet genuinely, through travel, work, online platforms, and build respectful partnerships. Cultural differences, however, can create misunderstandings. Family involvement in relationships is stronger in Congo. Introducing a partner to family carries weight. Bride price traditions may exist depending on community. Community reputation matters. Public behavior matters. A European man unfamiliar with these norms may feel surprised by the seriousness of family expectations. What feels casual in Europe may be viewed as serious commitment in Congo. Another reality is that life in Congo, especially outside conflict zones, is not defined only by hardship. Urban youth culture is modern. Women pursue careers. Education levels in cities are rising. Dating expectations are evolving. Some European men who arrive expecting extreme traditionalism may instead encounter modern, independent women who expect emotional maturity and financial stability. There is also the psychological element of reinvention. Traveling to a different country allows some people to feel like a new version of themselves. In a foreign environment, social reputation resets. For someone dissatisfied with dating experiences at home, the idea of starting fresh abroad can be appealing. But long-term success depends on realism. Cross-cultural relationships require patience. Language differences matter. Social norms differ. Financial expectations must be discussed clearly. Visa and relocation realities are complex. And Congo itself is not uniform. Life in Kinshasa differs greatly from rural villages. Education level, exposure to global culture, and economic class all shape relationship expectations. There is no single, Congolese woman mindset. The most stable international relationships tend to form when both individuals see each other as equals, not saviors, not escape routes, not stereotypes. If a European man travels to Congo expecting admiration simply because he is foreign, he may face disappointment. Confidence, generosity, and respect matter more than nationality alone. If he travels with curiosity, humility, and realistic understanding of cultural complexity, meaningful connection is possible, just as anywhere else in the world. In the end, the question is not, why do European men go to Congo? The better question is, what are they looking for? Adventure? Love? Status? Escape? Cultural connection? Control? Partnership? The answer differs for each person. And like all international relationships, success depends less on geography, and more on character.